Well, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to the Selectmen, the special meeting of the Board of Selectmen, the 18th of January, 4 o'clock. The first order of business will be to review the minutes of the 20th of December. We could have a motion and we could discuss them.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of the December 20th, 2021 meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. The next one is the minutes of the 30th. This was a special meeting. So we can have a motion to consider those minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the December 30th, 2021 special meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on them? If not, we'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Now the next item, we do have a couple of visitors, so we could, I know the Senior Center comes following the public comment. We have Parks and Rec, which has a brief presentation from Mr. Dunn. So we could either entertain public comment in its order, or we could move these items ahead of that. I don't know what your pleasure might be on that. It's hard to say how long public comment may be, but we could either move these other guests ahead of that or not.
Did you already log in on the phone?
Yes, Michelle.
Oh,
Michelle did.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
So we could.
I don't think we have that many. I mean, a lot of these people, I think, are here for the Senior Center project, to support the Senior Center project. So I don't know if we have that many. I think we should go with public comment and keep it in the
Okay.
meeting.
All right. So we'll start with those in the room who wish to make public comment. Would you please come forward? Mr. Davis.
Hi.
Why don't you come up a little closer, please? Okay.
Hi. My question is Alpha Avenue going to be on the town
Yes.
agenda?
Yes,
Okay.
it will.
That's the whole thing I wanted.
Yeah. Okay. That's coming later, but that's correct.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. We will. Yep.
Yes.
I just am here to
If you'd come a little closer so we can pick it up on the microphone, please, and state your name.
support the Senior Center. I've been attending, I'm on the board, and I've also been attending the Senior Center for a while now. And we've outgrown, especially in the tap dancing class, outgrown our building. I also noticed when we went through the process with the architect, they made us notice the finishes and how lovely our building does not look. I would love to see our Senior Center be on the culture of this building, and as an honor respect for our Senior Center. I think it's really important that people come from other towns and they look at our buildings. Our buildings are, I know our school buildings are getting in better shape. This building is magnificent, and there's no reason why our Senior Center should look the same way.
Can I see your name? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yes.
Kathy Lockwood.
Kathy Luck, thank you.
Anyone else in the room? Yes.
Hi, my name is Jane Holland. I'm an Old Lyme resident. I'm a retiree after 38 years as an IT business analyst with the Hartford Financial Services. I've been a member of the Senior Center for 3 years, and I'm also a board member. I mainly participate at the Senior Center in exercise, yoga. I attend lectures on health and wellness, yoga, history, art, I also use the library. Within my 3 years as a member, the demand for and participation in exercise, dance, and yoga has increased significantly. So what I see is that if we had a larger space or multiple spaces, we could accommodate the demand for the various classes. The library is very active. It currently occupies a corner of the library. The shelves and nearby tables are overflowing. Donated books that can't fit into this space are in boxes in an outdoor storage shed. Member demand for the library, interestingly, was very high during COVID, so much so that a subset of the library is housed outside in an outside library near the entrance. The town nurse provides many services in a shared space at our senior center. If the town nurse continues to be housed at the senior center, she needs a committed private space. Many activities, including the town nurse appointments, the hairdressing appointments, lecture series, member art classes, bridge club, exercise, dance, yoga classes, they all have scheduling difficulties due to the need to share the same space. And we've noticed that membership has significantly increased and continues to increase. So I fully support the senior center expansion, and I hope you will too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Christina Gakokas, 25 Library Lane. I am absolutely in favor of updating the facility. We have a fabulous director who does an amazing job with programming, and one of the things that we need to think of is that programming in the various types of activities enables people to stay cognitively intact, physically able-bodied, socially engaged, and it is a tremendous asset to our community. For those of us who are baby boomers, they will never be able to build long-term care facilities quick enough to follow us as we march along the aging pathway. So having a vital senior center where people can remain in their town and participate fully as citizens of the community is absolutely necessary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nicole Michaud. I've been a member for a few years, and the few events that I've attended, the place was overflowing. That's already from things from 3, 4, 5 years. So it's being well attended, and as you well know, the town is growing, but a lot of our youngsters are pretty much go to college, leave, go someplace else. So I suspect that a large portion of our citizenship in Old Lyme is of a certain age, 55 and older. So the need is not only great now, but will only get greater as time goes on. So I do support the community center improvement.
Thank you.
I'm Diana Sekla. I live in Lyme. I've been a member of the senior center, I think, probably 15 years or so. I agree with what everybody has said, but it also is a big and beneficial social place for people of our age group to gather. And even for that, we just need more space to do that, as well as all the other programs that are offered. So I support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Carol Diffley. I'm cafe manager for the Meals on Wheels program at the senior center. And I fully support the expansion of the building. as it would improve the functionality of the different activities that are being held in the senior centers. And in particular, when it comes to the lunch area, the dining room now is really part of the all-purpose room, which is not really suitable for the intimacy and the exchange that the congregants would wish to have so that they can have meaningful conversation and peaceful lunches. As it is right now, we're sharing a space. People are coming in and out. We have to work in the kitchen, and it causes a lot of noise and disturbance on all parts. So it would be to the benefits of all the seniors and those who participate to have a much separation in the different rooms so that they can enjoy all the activities that they would like to entertain there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Stone, and I'm a member of the Senior Center Building Committee. I'm a 28-year resident of Old Lyme and a 6-month resident of Lyme. I, needless to say, fully support this expansion, not only for the reasons that you have just heard, but also because our senior center serves the whole community. It serves people of many different ages who are not senior citizens. And the VFW is one example of an organization that serves a wide range of ages. And the visiting nurse is another example. The concert series in the summer is another example where families, kids, people of all ages come to the senior center. And a very important reason that no one has mentioned yet is that the senior center serves as a place of refuge and respite during emergencies. And during the summer storms last year and the year before, my husband and I camped out there to get Wi-Fi, to recharge our devices, and it was very important. The facilities are quite inadequate for that purpose, and I'm hoping that in an expansion and renovation, we can improve the facilities so that more people can recharge and more people can get fresh drinking water. So the senior center is very important for a number of reasons. It's not just for old people, it's for everyone. And I think this project is very important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Nancy Noonan. I have been a member of the Senior Center for about 6 years. It is the most welcoming group that I've ever known. Regardless of your background, they welcome you. I am a widow, and as a result, this is my social outlet, per se. And coming to Old Lyme, I was able to meet many people from both Lyme and Old Lyme, and the staff has stood on their heads to offer programs that could social distance, but there are certain activities that they have to keep canceling because there isn't enough room to do so. and one spread apart. And one of the things I think was mentioned was about the luncheons that we used to get. And that's a camaraderie based with a program afterwards. And it could be a concert, it could be a lecture on something, it could be an art class, it can be informational about things going on in town, it could be health related. We've had nurses come in and talk to us. This is information that seniors need, and this is one way of getting it. It also is a mental health situation because it gives us an outlet to be among people that are our age and common interest. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Connie Lewis, and I've lived in Old Lyme for 40 years. And I've only been a member for about maybe 6 years or so. I have a disabled sister that I bring to the senior center who has had a hard time socializing. She's very introverted. But since I brought her to the senior center, she has just blossomed. And she's made friends of her own. It doesn't depend on my circle of friends. And when we couldn't come during the pandemic, she was really devastated. Now we're back to coming, and she's enjoying it and starting to open up again. And I'm sure there are other people just like her. So I'm in favor of the expansion because there is so much that can be done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Hello, my name is Karen Geisler. I'm a retired teacher from Region 18, and I moved to Old Lyme about 16 years ago. And I've been a member of the senior center, I'm thinking, for about 5 or 6 years, even when I was still teaching. I hit the right age and I could start taking classes and things, and I've really enjoyed it. I've also, the Duck River Garden Club has held events there, and I'm a member of the Garden Club and also the Lions Club. And so those are two community organizations that make use of the place. But one of the things that, when I found out about the possible remodeling and making it larger, that I saw as an immediate asset is that programs could be held simultaneously if these things go on. What happens now, the senior center is great, it's well furnished, it's a nice place to be. But if you go in, let's say, and you're going to do an exercise class now, that dominates the whole room where the luncheons used to be served in the kitchen. So it basically dominates the whole place when an activity goes on. As I understand it, is in the new plan, hallways will be created so there'll be additional rooms so that, like, let's say a dance class might be able to be going on, and maybe an art class will be going on. And I know just by being a senior in this area, the number of seniors are growing. So I'm thinking that what a great place to be able to offer a multitude of activities rather than an activity one at a time to the senior community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nancy Mall. I live in Old Lyme. I feel that the senior center is an asset to our towns. When the pandemic began, the virtual programs that were being offered gave me a sense of connection and reassurance. As stated before, the populations of our towns are older, and the need for this center is only going to grow, and I definitely support the extension.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? We will check the telephone to see if...
Hello.
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 This is Molly.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
I've been saying hello for a long time.
You first. Go ahead.
No, I'm just amazed at the people who have come out and they've got it down just right. They know what this town needs. They know what the people need. And we want to continue, and we want to grow. And you need space to grow, just like a little kid needs space. Well, old folks do too.
Can you state your name for us, please?
Hello?
Can you state your name before you start speaking?
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Sue Campbell.
Thank you.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
One at a time. We're going to take it easy and
I'm
just
Doris
state your name.
Harnford. I don't know what
Make a brief comment because we have to move on with our agenda here.
Okay. Hello? Okay. My name is Karen Dale. I'm calling in. I am on the Friends of the Senior Center. We raise funds for the programs of the Senior Center. And we have 15,000 to 18,000 people who come across the doors of the Senior Center in the days before COVID to do the activities of the Senior Center. And we need more space to give the programs of the Senior Center. We have dance classes, we have art classes. We need the space, we need the expansion. Our population is growing, and we do need the expansion. Please support this. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
My name is Jacqueline Roberts. I live in Old Lyme and have for the last 37 years. And everyone has been so supportive, and I want to support this expansion also. It's essential, a place for seniors to meet and socialize. We need it so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm
Connie Cliff, and I'm calling to definitely support the expansion of the Senior Center. I agree with all the comments that have happened, and yes, by all means, Old Lyme needs a bigger Senior Center. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Hello.
My name is Carolyn Miranda, and I live in Old Lyme. And I have a question for you. I walked in a letter to the 3 selectmen on January 4th, and I don't see under correspondence on your agenda. You have none. So I guess I need to ask, did you get my letter? And can you answer my question concerning town public meetings being accessible to everybody via the phone or WebEx? In this time of serious COVID issues, I find that a few of your commissions have access by the phone to your meetings, but not all of the commissions do that. Can you give me an answer and let me know if you got my correspondence?
Yeah, well, the letter was received, but the agenda was done prior to the letter, so that's why it's not on the agenda.
You do your agenda way beyond 2 weeks ahead of time?
Oh, I was on vacation, so yes.
Yeah. Well, so can you give me the answer to that question?
No, this is called public comment, so I just responded to the fact that we did receive your letter, and we're going to move on.
All right.
And any other phone?
My name is Lorraine Wilcox, and I fully support the expansion of the senior center.
And my name is Ann Maxwell, and I fully support the expansion of the senior center. Thank you.
Hello.
My name is Hungerford, and I've been a member since it really began way back 20 years ago, and it has grown, and everybody has enjoyed it. We've got a lot of benefit out of the wonderful programs that they've had there, and we need the space to be able to take care of many of those programs, and I hope it continues.
Hello?
Hello.
Go
My
ahead.
name is Joan. My name is Joan Von Weissen. I'm a member of the Senior Center, and I also volunteer there. And I see all the wonderful, wonderful things that they do there. And I totally support the expansion of the Senior Center. Thank you. Hello?
Hello.
My name is Maureen Breitzke, and my in-laws, Ruth and Ernst Breitzke, were instrumental in getting the original senior center built ages ago, and I think it's time to expand. I fully support it.
Thank you. Okay, we'll take a couple more comments because we have to move on. We're about a half hour into this, so a couple more maybe.
Good afternoon. My name is Sherry Bradley, and I'm a member of the Lyme Senior Center for only about 6 months, and I love it. I totally support the proposed expansion of the Senior Center. This expansion will allow the seniors in the community to remain active and healthy. Any programs offered would be able to expand attendance with the increase of the size of the building. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
We'll do one more and then we'll have to cut it off. Thank you.
My name is Judy Dutton. I'm a member and a volunteer at the Senior Center. I've been volunteering in the kitchen since 2003, and I hope they do an expansion, and we support it, and I hope you do something with our kitchen to make our lunches much more quiet and comfortable. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all for your comments. It's very, very encouraging.
Just make sure that nobody has a different topic that they may not have gotten in.
If there's someone who needed to speak about something other than the senior center, please indicate.
Okay,
all right. Thank you. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to have the Park and Rec Assistant Director item on the agenda be moved up to follow public comment before the Senior Center so that Mr. Dunn will make a brief presentation and he can be on his way.
I thought because this is a special meeting, we cannot change the agenda.
Well, we're just moving it around. We're not changing it. Just so he won't stay around that long if we have to wait. Can we have that motion?
To move?
Yeah.
Second.
Second. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Hi.
I'm Bob Dunn. I'm the chairman of the Parks and Rec Old Lyme. Our Park and Rec department is manned by one person, Don Bugby, who's the director. And currently, for the last several years, we not only take care of Old Lyme, which has a population of about 7,600. I've been rounding off these numbers based on the state of Connecticut's population census from 2019. And basically, between Old Lyme, 7,600 people, and Lyme, 2,400 people, Don is responsible for about 10,000 people in these two communities. And it's not only the children, there are adult programs and other things that involve lots of the community, lots of organizations. So, the Park and Rec Department Commission would like to get an assistant for Don. And I don't know if this is very helpful, but because if anyone would like to see the chart I'm going to go over, I was actually at the November meeting of the Selectmen, where we had an initial meeting, And basically what we have is Old Lyme compared to 9 other communities in the surrounding area, from Clinton, Madison, Essex, East Lyme. And what you have are populations which go from 5,100 in North Stonington up to 19,600 in Waterford. And there's various people that work for the department, either as full-time or part-time in these other communities. And it ranges from one person in North Stonington responsible for 5,100 people, and then 4 of these 9 other communities have 5 people working in the Park and Rec department. So we are terribly understaffed, and we would like to add a part-time person, 20 hours per week. It's gone over with the current budget. We would like to see if we could start it before July. And basically, an extra person would help with administrative duties, which are enormous for all the people that sign up for these programs. Updating the computer website, and a person that's very experienced with social media, because there's a lot of information that's exchanged on social media, which sometimes isn't exactly correct. And so we like to get a person that has more experience with that, and also expand programs and come up with new programs for the community. So basically, this was be a part-time position. It can be absorbed within this year's budget because some of the programs weren't executed as long as normal because of this COVID business. So there's plenty of money left over for a person to come in and assist in the next 3 or 4 months before the July budget. Without going in too much detail, Don Bugby is responsible for 10,000 people. In Clinton, where they have a director and a clerk, each one of their Park and Rec people is responsible for approximately 6,600 people. And it goes all the way down to North Brantford, which has 13,500 people. And you break that down with a staff of 5, each person has about 2,700 people. So I think this table just makes it quite obvious that we are terribly understaffed, especially since more people are moving into the community, and as you heard with the senior center, more people want to get involved with the various programs in town. So that's I presented that in November, the first week of November, at the Selectmen's meeting, and at that time, the Selectmen wanted to get a little bit more information. So myself, Tim Griswold, Don Bugby, the director, and Nicole Ledger, who is the finance director, got together to go over all the numbers, what it would imply, what level the position would be, and they've consulted with what's the consultant for Townsend, somebody for the
wage and salary.
Yeah, the wage and salary people. So all that information was exchanged. We had a very positive meeting, and so here I am again, and I'd like the Selectmen to seriously consider this because as the weather gets nicer, there's going to be a much greater demand for programs. And I heard somebody say, I think that's even one of the programs that we have in Park and Rec. So it's not for the kids, it's for everybody. But especially it's important for the kids, especially they're going through what they're going through now, that we get some sort of activities and socialization spread throughout the community more. So that's about all I have to say. Tim has seen all the numbers, and it could all work seamlessly right now if the Selectmen would go along with endorsing this.
So, Bob, my question is, 20 hours per week, and what did the Wage and Salary Committee, I know it's in the budget, but can you just remind me for the public, what is it per hour?
It's
30-45, is that right?
It's 20 hours per week, and, where's my...
I can read
30.
it.
I don't have my, does it fit right here, on the back of that sheet? Here you got one, I lost it.
It was,
Is it on there?
30.45.
Yeah, but that would,
Thank you.
and that would be confirmed by your consultant.
Yeah,
That's okay.
that's
Thank you.
the calculation that Nicole came up with, and so we'll compare that with what the study reveals and see where that, but, that's in a...
Yeah. So,
Imagine.
yeah, so I think it's all very doable, and just as the seniors in this community need a better facility and more help, I think so do the young people and the community in general through park and rec programs. That's about it. Any other questions?
So I think that maybe after the agenda progresses, we can discuss this and decide whether we want to make a recommendation to the Board of Finance, because this budget process is now beginning. And it would be for a portion of the remainder of the year as well as next year.
Yeah.
And then years following that.
Right. Conceivably, if it could start in March, because we're halfway through January, if we could start in March, because that's when everything starts gearing up too for all the programs in the springtime and the summer, and of course the summer is the busiest. So, and I followed. Don is sorry he couldn't make it because he's the high school basketball coach, so he would have come here too, but they have a game somewhere. So basically that's it, and I would appreciate very much that the Selectmen would grant this proposal to start having a part-time assistant.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And like I said, if anybody wants that table, I got a few extras that you want to offer. Would you like one? Okay.
Okay, so thank you, Bob. The next item is the Senior Center presentation. Jerry Baker is the chairman of the board of the Senior Center, and also the resident of Old Lyme, and in charge of the building committee. So well versed in senior matters.
Okay. My name's Jerry Baker. I've lived in Old Lyme for 27 years. I'm a retired teacher. I've been a member of the Senior Center for about 5 or 6 years now. I've been chair of the board of directors of the center for the last 4, and I chair the building committee. That is a separate entity. It's not a subcommittee of the Senior Center board. It's an appointed 2-town committee by both boards of selectmen to investigate whether or not an expansion of the Senior Center is not only feasible, but also something that we should look toward the future. I also remember the rest of the committee when we have these events that happen in town with weather-related events. Now, I struggled with how I was going to try to present a little background information for Ms. Shoemaker and Mr. Ward, since they're sort of new to this process, but you did it for me. And I want to thank you so much for your comments. They were wonderful. Everybody makes my life a lot easier. But I also want to say that I woke up this morning and I said, well, they need to know a little bit more fact-based information. In 2018, the Board of Directors of the Center started to think about the fact that we were exploding in membership. We went in 5 years from 300 members to over 1,500 members in 5 years. That reflects not only the growing populations of both Lyme and Old Lyme, which the center serves as a municipal agency for both towns, but it reflects the national and regional trends of population throughout Connecticut and the rest of the country. Nobody's getting any younger, okay? And when you're not getting any younger, you have to look at your community and say, what does your community need? Our center, as a 5,400 square foot house, basically, size, is now at the point where we're bulging at the seams and needing space. And the board of directors said, well, we need space. We need more space. And we kept saying, we just need space. And people were saying, throw on an addition, slap on an addition, get more floor space, cram more bodies in there. But the idea of just doing that was not enough. And in 2019, fall of 2019, both towns decided that we needed a building committee to start looking at the other questions. The other questions the building committee looked at in the beginning, from the very beginning, was why do we need this space? How is this space going to be used? What is the future going to be like for both communities, and how does this center serve these communities? So we put together a proposal for the Board of Finance, got some initial funding from both the board, and a one-time contribution from the Board of Directors of our funds, which are supposed to be for our programs, since neither town contributes any money to the programs of the center. We raise all the money ourselves for our programs. And we hired an architect to do a feasibility study. The feasibility study looks at those questions of how to use the space we already have, and also how to add space and make it functional, flexible, accessible, and viable, and very, very, very vibrant. Our center is a center that serves a population with age range from 55 to 100 years old. We have a fantastic phenomenon taking place here, where we serve a very active community of residents 55 and better. We don't call them 55 and older. And we also have a very vulnerable population that we still must serve. And we do that every single day. And we've been doing it even after we shut the doors during the pandemic in March 2020. And we're doing it again now, since we reopened the center in July, even with strict COVID protocols. The director, who is phenomenal, has been able to offer programs throughout the last 24 months, either virtually or in person. So I want to update you just a little bit as the board of selectmen on what these plans look like, okay? And I also gave you a folder that has two documents in it. One is an article that Stephanie Gold, the director, actually gave to the Events magazine for the December publication, this quarterly publication, and it involves a lot of good information for you, especially you, Mr. Ward and Ms. Shoemaker, about current programs that are available and what the center actually does. Because that's part of the reason why I'm here, is to also help you understand that we're smashing stereotypes about what it means to age well. And that article gives you a good sense of what we're doing there. We've also added some more programs since that article came out. The other document I gave you is the original 1994 agreement between the two towns of Lyme and Old Lyme. And I'll refer to that in a few minutes because there's something that you might want to take a look at about that agreement. But here for you to take a look at. I did email you the entire feasibility plan so you can take a look at it, but I took a few of the slides and had them blown up just so you can get maybe a good visual today. These are the three floor plans. This is the original existing plan. This is the first option that Point One came up with, the architectural firm that we hired, and their second option. We asked them to produce conceptual plans during the feasibility study. The feasibility study is a tool. It's a tool to inform not only you as governmental bodies, but also the public about the needs and usages of the building space. And we have looked at these two options, and I'll look at them again with you in a minute. But we really are going to use this feasibility study to convince people of the need to support this project. And I'll give you a little bit of an idea about what kind of fundraising you might look at in the future. Existing space, a lot of people here who commented mentioned that we have one large space, main room space. It's broken down with a tile floor, partially carpeted. It's a space that's not really flexible to use if you want to have progressive, simultaneous programming. Can't do it, okay, because it's not easily partitioned and it's too small. I mean, we had tap dancers, I don't know if any of you were the tap dancers, who actually ended up tap dancing on carpet at a certain point because we had so many people in that class. And that just doesn't work for tap. We also looked at the kitchen expansion possibility. We looked at how, and worked with the architectural firm about how we could actually expand, but not only that, why we would expand. And they, legitimately, the site itself does not lend itself to expansion in all four directions. It only really because north of the center we have all the septic systems, all the mechanicals, all the propane tank and the generator. Everything north of the center is really off limits for expansion, easily. If you look at the front door of the center and you go out toward the parking lot, that's pretty much not a direction that could be built out because of the parking lot and the driveway that's shared with town woods. But to the west of the center and to the south of the center, there's space that can be expandable. And these blue areas reflect the actual possible added space, but the other areas within these two plans, these two conceptual plans, are reconfigured, taking office space and flipping it to the north side of the building in order to be able to expand to either to the south or to the west, and also moving our porch, front porch, because it's so old that it cannot accommodate an ambulance underneath it because it's too low. There's all kinds of health and safety things that need to be looked at. And we, and the pink areas are additional possibilities of looking at option, excuse me, I'm going to you hand that around if you want to. Option 1 does not want to stay on this stand. Okay. Option 1 is to go to the west. And Mr. Griswold, you know the center really well because you're a VSW member, and you know you've been in the building, and you're a member. You are too, Ms. Shoemaker, so you know the building. And Mr. Ward, I'm personally inviting you to take a tour of the building whenever you're ready. I'd be glad to give you one. If you look at this is the western expansion. You know where the sheds are? Okay, that would bump out that way.
Toward High Hopes.
Yeah, toward High Hope, toward that side of the property. And also adding an enclosed porch situation. But the bigger deal is this: putting in a flow of the building so that it stays intimate, something that's personal. We charge the architects with saying we don't want an expansion that makes us an institution. We want an expansion that keeps the character of the building, but the character of the culture, but also feels like home. Because our center is unique in that respect. Even instructors who come into the center have commented to us that it feels so welcoming, it feels like home. It feels like you can make friends here very easily. And those of us who are senior center members who travel to other centers to do programs, we know what that means because we've felt that when we go to other places. We feel the lack of it if places too institutionalized or too big. So the idea is to keep the scale, the scope, and the flow of the center personal. So that they were able to do that by creating a hallway that they call a celebration hallway that would lead into all these different spaces but give people direction and good flow. And also in the spaces that we create, the bigger spaces, the ability to partition them off so that simultaneous program could take place. That comment that was made about the simultaneous program, right on. Okay. The idea that Stephanie might be able to add programs and make that center active every hour of every day is the future of that center. As well as, thank you COVID, the virtual world that we created. Because that is now really, if other organizations have also been looking at this, the future of these organizations is to have a hybrid model that offers the opportunity for online participation as well as in-person participation. The nice thing about this plan, and this seems to be the more popular concept, I want to make sure that you understand. Concept here means starting point. This is the dream. The architects actually looked at what we do. We had public workshops with stakeholders, people who work at the center, volunteer at the center, who are members, and also people who teach at the center to see what they needed. They listened to that, and they gave us the opportunity to say, we need a better space for the congregate luncheons. We need a better space for our art programs, because we can only offer a few people for in that space as it exists now. When we shut the doors in 2020, in March of 2020, we had 1,546 people on the roster at the center. We also had, that year leading up to March 2020, over 25,000 visits to the center. 1,546 people were more than all the kids that were registered in the school district at that time. 46 more people, about 46 more, which as a retired teacher and a shoemaker could attest to this, that's about 2 classrooms full of kids right there. And all of this was in one building. And the traffic, we were able to log this traffic because we have a database that tells us who we have and also tells us when they show up. So that kind of traffic in one building puts wear and tear on it, and the building's old enough now that it needs to be renovated. I'm here to ask you to consider supporting that renovation for this purpose. We have now completed the feasibility study. We're moving on to the next phase, which is the full schematic design that needs to be leading into a very well done design document in order to build toward a good building plan. And I'm asking the Board of Selectmen to please consider recommending to the Board of Finance that they help us with this. We also, as a building committee, promised both towns that we were going to try to do everything we could do to offset the costs that may be incurred to the towns. And in doing so, so far, I can just give you very briefly, and I'm not going to take up much more time, I promise. I've reached out, and the committee has reached out. I've reached out to OMB to see that we are eligible for a STEEP grant if money is available when STEEP is funded. State Representative Devin Carney, State Senator Paul Formica, State Senator Norm Needleman have all expressed extreme interest in helping and are researching whatever they can research through the state system. I met with the AARP, the American Rescue Plan Committee, and was advised to submit an application for possible funding for that. Congressman Joe Courtney personally has become involved and has set me up with his one of his grants coordinators to look for federal funding through various agencies to see if we might be available, what might be available. Just yesterday, I reached out to the Connecticut Connectivity Grant through the Connecticut DOT to see if they might be interested in us as a project if we add a walking track since that grant actually is for pedestrian and bicycle traffic in a town. And I am going to be meeting with Senator Needleman next week or the week after. And I also have a meeting scheduled in early February with the Mentoring Corps for Community Development, the MCCD, here in Old Lyme, to ask for their support in whatever way they can give it. And frankly, we had someone reach out for the first private donation today. So we're trying to do our due diligence to try to make this less of a financial burden, but also knowing that both towns have the responsibility by agreement and by our Constitution and bylaws for the capital improvements of our facility. Okay. Last but not least is floor plan 2, which kind of fed into our original thinking. We take that awful porch off, the south end of the building, rip it off and add space onto it. So going south that way, this plan adds as much space as the first plan, except in a different direction, and is also still working on the idea of reconfiguring the space for flow and better accessibility for the offices, the town nurse, and for all the other people who share the facility as staff and volunteers. Option 1 seems to be the more popular one at the moment for people who are involved in this process. But after working with the architects, they said, you're going to come up, you're going to come up with a different plan. It could be a hybrid of the two plans. And this is really the dream plan. They came in with concept costs of over $3 million for each plan. But this is not the final plan. And we know that. And we know that we're going to have to revise the plan and work towards one that's acceptable by both towns and also by the constituents that this center serves. Okay. I'm still riffing off everything everybody said. I don't have to tell you what we do there. You've heard yourself from everybody here and everybody on the phone how much this center means to these two towns. It would be a shame if the renovation didn't happen. It would be a shame that it would be something that would, if it didn't happen, would prevent the future involvement of future members who are going to come to the center because it offers programs and services they need. And that's all I have to say. And I will take any questions or comments from you and anything I can get for you for additional information. You know how to reach me.
I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but option 1, can you just tell me the cost of option 1 and cost of option 2 and how much more square feet?
Option 1 was 3.4, option 2 is 3.8, but that includes all the bells and whistles.
Right. How much more?
Not sure we need a fireplace. We can take that out, okay? Not sure we need a cupola. But those are just details.
Right.
The idea is to come up with a plan that will be acceptable but will be beautiful.
Right.
Because, like everyone said here, this is a place for people to come to socialize, and they need to walk in the door and feel like that's home. It's their home away from home. Yeah.
What was the increase in square footage for option 1? Do you know?
It's going to double.
So from 5,400 to 10,600?
Yeah, about 5,400 to a little under 10,000.
Both of them?
Yeah, both plans. Will we need that much space? Maybe not. Maybe the final plan may not be as large as that, but it was the one that would come up with the configuration that would be architecturally sound at this point. Now, the next phase is the schematic design. It's not going to be cheap. It's the research I've been doing. It's $70,000 to $80,000 to go to full schematic design. And that leads me to also say that $70,000 to $80,000 range is because it's unclear what the civil engineering fee could be involved in schematic design. And for people who don't know what schematic design is, it's drilling down to the exact detail of every system in the building, which would help a builder, when we come to the building plan phase, know what to do. But the original agreement lays out what the shared experiences for the two towns for the 75-25 split, but there's also a question about the land in the 1994 agreement. The center is a tenants and use building design and implementation for the two towns, but it's who owns the land that it's unclear to the architects that we've worked with so far about who would be responsible for any civil engineering fee, which would include site planning, parking lot, zoning, those kinds of interactions, as well as the civil engineering component. So that's something you might want to take a look at.
Was there a specific page, Jerry, that to draw attention to that?
Page 2.
Page 2.
Thank you, Matt.
Oddly enough, the pagination on that document is not real great. So
Okay.
It's like 2 page 3s, where 1 page is really page 2.
I think that's referring to number 1.
Yep, okay.
But it's something that I wanted to alert you to so that you could actually find out for yourself who would be responsible for that component of any building plan that has to go forward. Okay.
Now, did you guys request any money in the upcoming budget for this specific thing, or is that not going that, like for a capital project type funding?
I'm sorry, can you repeat
This
that?
$75,000 to $80,000 that you're talking, or 70 to 80 roughly, did you request that in the senior center budget going forward? Or?
Okay, we're not the senior center budget.
Okay.
Okay, and this is the confusion. We are a building committee that is responsible for solely looking at this possible expansion and renovation. It's not part of Stephanie's capital budget or her operational budget at all.
So the committee can make a recommendation to the board of selectmen?
Yeah, well, actually we did when we got our first round of funding. I went separately from the center as director and begged for the $15,000 that we got.
And that was for both towns chipped into that $15,000?
No.
Just Old Line?
Oh, well, no. Line paid its share.
Oh, okay. All right.
But in their split.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks.
How long will the schematic part take, likely?
Well, I'm entertaining that we're going to need to issue another RFP for this phase, so that we stay legitimate and transparent and open for process. So when we did the first RFP, we advertised in the New London Day. We received over 10 responses from 10 architectural firms and went through, as a committee, over 700 pages of proposals, decided on 3 firms to interview. We interviewed the 3 firms and actually hired point 1 on that day that we interviewed all 3. I have to say that they have been remarkable, and I'm hoping they come in, if we issue another RFP, with a reasonable budget for this next phase. But you must know that they are vested in this process to the point where, we appreciate them because they're local. The other firms are great firms, but we chose them not only for their design experience, but the fact that they're here. They're part of this community. And the thing I loved about them is when I called them, a human would answer the phone and not a robot, which was really good. So hopefully they'll be able to continue with us, but not necessarily. We're being legal. We need to be legal. We've always pledged to be transparent, and if we need to go through this process for another RFP, I want to kick that off as soon as possible. It doesn't mean we need the funding to do the RFP process right away, but it does mean we need to continue the process. We don't want to stall out at any point. So,
how much of the original 30,000 is still left?
I'm not sure. Maybe about Nicole here. Yo, Nicole.
I don't know where we're at. But a lot of, the town portion is paid for.
Yeah, 15,000 from the town is gone, and we've dipped into the pledged one-time amount from the board.
Yeah.
I think we're maybe up to 4,000 or 5,000 on that. So
maybe it's an extra 9,000 total, maybe.
Sorry?
Is it an extra 9,000 that's going to come out of the board funds?
Well, that's still there for us to use.
Right. And you probably spent 4 or 5 grand.
Yeah, well, I think, to kick off the RFP process, we only need $80 for that at the moment. And then we still have the rest of that money, but then we need to add to it. Obviously we need to add to it. And we're committed to raising the funds as much as we can to offset the costs for the town.
Is it, well, if I'm reading correctly in the thing here, the dues are $5, is that?
Okay. That's always a fun thing.
Just curious.
I know. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I listened to the Board of Finance meeting in November where that question was raised about dues. The next day, I researched 8 area senior centers around us, the ones that we work with for certain programs, but also ones we don't, but where we draw members from as well sometimes. None of them, only one of them had dues. The rest of them didn't, but they scaffold their program fees for in-town and out-of-town residents, which we don't do. Our instructors are paid by our members, negotiated fees for their instruction. But, yeah, our dues are $5 if you're an old Lyme or Lyme resident and $10 if you're not. It's a bargain, but it's something that not only attracts people to our center, but makes sense.
It's the same if you do one program or 15 programs, right? It's the same if you do one program or 15 programs, it's $5.
Yeah, if you're a member, you pay your dues, but you also know that you're going to be paying an instructor as well. And Stephanie's remarkable in being able to negotiate wonderful fees from our instructors. There are art programs. I'm very vested in the art community in the center. There are art programs in other centers that cost 4 or 5 times more than what we charge, or the instructors charge. But instructors come to our center because they like working there, and they also believe in what they're doing. And we've been able to attract really good artists to the center, including a Chinese brush artist and other watercolorists mostly, and people who are really good at teaching art. So I think that we don't want to change the structure of who we are because, the idea, if we even raise the dues, the money still goes to programs. It doesn't go to capital improvements. Okay?
No, I wasn't talking about rate, I just want to make sure.
No, it's a bargain. It is a bargain, and I would encourage, if you're not old enough.
A cup of coffee is $5.
Well, I would encourage you, if you're not old enough to join the center yet, if you have family members who are, please send them our way.
Bring them along.
Yeah. Anything else, guys?
So, what action do we need to take for you?
The action would be a recommendation to the Board of Finance to help us fund the next phase of this development. That would be the $70,000 to $80,000 range. I can't get it narrowed down any more than that because of the civil engineering component. That question has to be answered, and that's something that you guys have to answer, I think.
But it's really two things, though. It's authorizing an RFP process and, right, because it's kind of two separate things. The next step is moving forward with that, but also the 70,000, 80,000. So it's really two components. Is that accurate?
We didn't really need authorization to start the RFP process to begin with for the first phase.
Right.
But if you feel that you would give us your blessing on that, please do so. Yeah.
It'd be helpful to probably create a handout that would show all the elements moving through the next year, 18 months. So if you need to go out with an RFP, there are going to be costs associated with that. The design, 70 to 80, have that. But will there be additional legal? Will there be engineering? You know, soup to nuts. And maybe point one can shed light on that.
Well, they're kind of not involved in that anymore since they are done with the feasibility study. And
well,
their
just
job?
pick their brain about, you know, they work for other clients and they could say, if we've done other projects of similar nature and these are the kinds of things you need to think about. Because you probably need a contingency because everything doesn't cost what they say it will. And ultimately, I think in the big picture, you can refine the ultimate cost of the project, but then there has to be an operating estimate too. We know what it takes to run the place now, but with a bigger facility, it will require everything in duplicate maybe.
That's a question that's come up that we haven't addressed as a building committee because it's actually a function of this government, is the staffing of the center. If it's expanded, I mean, we've already shot down the idea of putting in a gym because of the liability factor, but also we don't have staff that's trained to do that. And you also have to remember, Stephanie is only a 30-hour-a-week employee with a 12-hour-a-week assistant. So in 42 hours, that center runs with 2 people. And it's important that the support for staffing is looked at down the road, but not necessarily something that the building committee needs to look at. It's what you guys are going to have to look at down the road.
Yeah, it's part of the whole package.
Part of that 3 point whatever they included, like, so these things, say you move forward and, you know, you can't use the building because it's being gutted. Like, what do you do in that? Like,
we asked the architects that during the feasibility presentation about phasing the construction, which ultimately could be more expensive, but the idea that maybe there's the ability to share facilities around town for various programs while things are taking place could buffer that a bit.
Yeah, because we obviously don't want to stop doing the programs while construction's going because that defeats the whole purpose, but obviously there's cost to that too, so. Thank you.
Anything else?
So the plan is that you're going to go back and get us just a bit more detailed numbers forecasting out as far as you possibly can.
Yeah, forecasting though will depend on how you answer the civil engineering question as well.
And in that meantime, I would hope that Tim, you or our town attorney can answer that question on page 2 as far as ownership and.
Well, obviously this is oriented to the 5,400 square foot building, so it's been a 75-25 from the beginning, and I expect it would be a 75-25 going forward.
Oh, I don't think that's, I think that's the building. No, that's a given. The idea is who's responsible for any of the renovation or reconstruction of the land.
The land.
Because the land is owned by Old Lyme, not Lyme.
Well, I would say all project costs, be they legal, engineering, bulldozers pushing dirt, it's all project. So the land, it's in Old Lyme, and our building officials would supervise it and so forth. But I think it's going to be a joint project.
Okay, well, that's a discussion that the 2 towns need to have. But also, I will let you know that the architects, when they did look at the feasibility study, saw it as a gray area.
Well, we'll make it black and white.
That needs to be looked at. Okay. Yeah, okay. So a timeline is, I mean, I'd love to get your permission tonight, if possible, to kick off at least the RFP process to get some interest generated by firms without the idea of spending any money except about $80 for an ad right now, if that's okay. And then leading up to that, would love to see that you would recommend to the Board of Finance that we move forward with this project.
Well, when you say RFP, does that mean that if another outfit came in beside Point One and they said, we don't really like that plan, and they might do a different plan, wouldn't that change the whole dynamic?
What they would come in would be the same charge to do what Point One would do, which would be to look at every system in the building.
They have to come up with one of these.
They not necessarily have to buy into these expansion spaces, but they have to look at the same. My understanding is that if you double the space, then they have to look at everything that's involved with doubling the space.
But
not necessarily about how it would look.
Wouldn't it be cheaper to take one of these two plans and refine it versus a new outfit? It's just like an architect, they say, this doesn't have my signature on it.
That'd be great, except for the fact that we still need to be legal and go out to bid and do whatever we have to do legally to do that.
You still need to know the ins and outs before you can go to a building. You've got to be able to say they might notice something that's going to be a problem that Point One didn't, because theirs is a feasibility study.
But if a different architect changes this in a material way, now you're almost starting over again, it seems. So if they took one of these and got into the detail, I can see that would be more efficient.
Well, I would think the building committee should take that under advisement and make sure that we don't go off into a tangent in a different direction if we feel one of these plans is comfortable enough for somebody else to adapt. Okay?
Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I get what you're talking about. I get it. I also want you to know that the MEP study that was done by the architects, the mechanical engineering, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, it should have been in that PDF I sent you, but if it wasn't, I will resend it to you. The inside of the building and the mechanicals, the electrical, and the plumbing are in really decent shape. So just the tie-ins that would be necessary for those systems for expansion might not be as difficult.
So when you say, can we go to an RFP, we don't have any cost estimates for that next specific step.
But no, not yet, because the RFP would bring firms in that would give us good cost estimates.
They need the RFP to get the cost.
They need the RFP.
Right, but somebody's got to design it. Do you have the money on hand to pay for whatever time that somebody has to do to develop the RFP and all that?
That's on them to develop the proposal. We don't pay them to develop the proposal. They develop the proposals and submit it to us.
But I'm just talking about, there's going to be a legal, there's going to be other stuff. It's not going to be expensive probably, but hopefully you've got enough on hand from the original 30 to carry it through that stage.
I'm not sure what you mean by legal and other stuff, because
somebody's going to have
question for the town, not for the building committee. Okay.
Somebody's going to have to come up with putting something in the paper, the text, the advertising cost, just whatever it is to get through the RFP.
Okay, yeah. The last RFP cost us $80 to do the first one for the ad in the New London Day. From that ad, 10 firms submitted proposals.
It cost us $300 just to advertise a town meeting.
Yeah, well, no, they were very good about it. From that ad, we generated 10 firms that they submitted proposals to us wanting our business. Okay, we didn't pay them to submit the proposal. So from that is how we hired Point One with the funding we had. That's a similar process to do the next phase. Is advertise, get the proposals, interview, pick them out, call the references, do everything we do as a committee, and then
you have a better...
They want the job from us, okay? But then we need to know that we have the funding to pay them when they do the job. That will be the
next step.
The next step.
So basically, right now, you would just like our blessing to spend the $80 for $80 to $100, let's say, for an RFP.
For an ad,
Right.
which we already have the money for.
Right.
Okay.
So you're just...
Yeah. Can we kickstart the next process by doing the advertising and the vetting and the input of information?
That takes time.
Yeah. So that we actually have something to show you?
Yes.
Okay.
So...
Yeah.
I will make a motion to authorize the building committee of the senior center to place an RFP using approximately $100 from their current funds that are in I'm not sure which fund line, but at Town Hall.
Yeah. Nicole knows which one. Yeah.
Okay, there's a motion. We get a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion on it? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
you for your time. Thank you for your service.
And that doesn't refer to the bidders that this is a done deal. This is just to get us to the next step.
No, this is to work us toward that building plan that we will have to go out to bid eventually.
Yep.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, well, maybe we could take a quick recess. Just a lot of people will probably want to depart at this point. And we can continue with our agenda. So
I'm going to turn the lights on in the lobby because people are walking.
Oh, right.
There and
Okay.
Welcome back.
Well, Commander, how are you doing? Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Have to get together sometime.
Yeah, maybe this week we could rally and...
Yeah, I'm not doing anything. I'm going down to Florida about the middle of February.
All right.
All right.
Next couple of nights, maybe we can figure something out.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Very good.
All right, take care.
See ya, thank you.
It was excellent. Very nicely done.
may I ask who the mascot is? It's Buttons, Tim's dog.
C'est à moi.
Oh, okay. Very friendly.
He tries to be good.
Oh, that's perfect. Leaving after me?
Nope,
Okay.
not leaving.
Jerry, this is in the hallway, right?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna move this jump not in our way. Elizabeth. I am. Oh, that's very good. You look like it. Yeah, really, it's been a while. But, can you email me the packet that you emailed? And the documents, everything that, Stephanie produced. Yeah. Okay. As soon as I can do it. It's also available in the town hall.
Okay. guess we can pick up again. Next item will be to consider the appointments. A sheet has been distributed to the Selectmen, and I think we probably can do these in groups, perhaps, as opposed to one motion. I don't know that would work. So if we were to go by the position, and then if there are multiple people within a commission or a board, we can do the whole commission, perhaps.
Tim, is there, it's not noted on here, but we should have the total number of people on each commission somewhere noted. Like, are we dealing with 8, 9, etc., so that we make sure that we are following Section 9-617, minority representation, under the general statutes.
Yeah. Well,
so it's hard for us, as Matt and I, to conceptualize all this with this particular sheet because not all members are on here.
Right, and not all members are up at the same time.
Right, I understand that, but it still has to be follow the laws.
Yeah, and we have been careful to assess that and when that applies. So,
but my other concern is that there are people that applied that I do not see their name on here.
Okay.
So,
well, I could make. Let's see. We have a sheet that has the whole thing. But I'd have to get that. I don't know if I can even pull that off because Michelle pulls that off.
So if you want to take them a few at a time, and when I have questions, I can bring them up.
Sure. All right. Well, we can go that way, I think. The first one is the ADA coordinator. It's just an individual position. Jen Datum is the incumbent, and it's a 1-year appointment. So if that meets with satisfaction, we can have a motion on that one.
I make a motion to approve Jen Datum as the ADA coordinator for 1 year, expiring January 31st, 2023.
Okay.
I'll second.
And moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Affordable housing. William Beluzzi is a regular member, and he is the only one whose position is up at this time. There are alternate positions there are 2 vacancies on the 3, but they have different terms. So that we have not finalized numbers, people for those positions. So that will follow hopefully at our next meeting.
So we're going to be picking some other people for affordable housing?
Yes. Yeah.
And how many positions will we be picking?
We would have possibility of 2 alternate positions. A couple of forms have come in, but they're very new, so I think they need to be vetted a bit. So they're not ready at this time. But
you need a motion on that?
Bill Beluzzi, yeah.
I'll make a motion to appoint Bill Beluzzi to Affordable Housing Commission for a term that expires, a 3-year term expiring January 31st, 2025.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next is the Board of Assessment Appeals. This is a single alternate, Peter Hunt. So that it should be, we can handle that one today.
I'll make a motion to appoint Peter Hunt to a 2-year term to the Board of Assessment Appeals as an alternate, expiring on January 31st, 2024.
Second.
Okay, other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The Cable Advisory Committee Council, it's called, has a municipal vacancy and a Board of Education vacancy. So we do not have names for that at this time.
So that'll be at our next meeting?
Well, maybe if we can find, I mean, the school needs to appoint one of those persons, and then we need to, this has been unfilled for a while.
Okay. And that's just the one each, right? Just 2 people total?
Yes, three total, but the incumbent term is not up this year. The Commission on Aging is not on the sheet because there are a number of vacancies, 3 vacancies, but there have been no applicants for those positions, and the people who are otherwise on the Commission, their terms are not up yet, so there are 3 that can be filled there.
Can I ask, can we do, because I'm sure we're going to come up with some other commissions that have vacancies still. Mm-hmm. So can we put together a list of all the vacancies and post this on the town website?
Yeah.
So people are totally aware of what's available?
Right. Yes, we have done that, and that needs to be done. And once we get through some of our appointments, that'll thin that down.
Okay.
There's a connectivity grant committee, but there are no terms specifically for that, so we're not considering that. The Conservation Commission, the terms of the regular members are, none are up this particular year. There are 3 vacancies, however, that are not filled, have not been filled, so those are 3 that we need to work on.
Uh-huh. Let's see, economic development. We have 8 regular members, and with a vacancy we have, 9, excuse me, and there are 2 terms that are available. There's a vacancy with a term ending in 24, and a term for Candace Fuchs ending in this year, 2022. So Candace is already on?
She is.
So she would be a renewal.
Right. And we have somebody looking for the vacant position, and somebody looking for the term ending in 22 as well. That's why you see...
But you have on your notes here, pick one, either.
Well, there are only 2 slots. We have 3 people.
Okay, so whose term is ending in January 31st of 2024?
Fuchs.
But you recommend...
Well, the 2024 thing's open.
Well, the 2022 term, it's a 5-year term, so that's going to 27. And the other one, the term ends in 24, so...
Whose is that?
It's a vacant seat at this moment. So the person would be elected to a 5-year term, which happens to end in 2024, and the
So basically, we have 3 people, and we have to fill 2 seats, that they don't necessarily need to be, I mean, we could put Wendy in the fill the term one for 24.
That's correct.
If we wanted to.
You could put mix and match in there, yeah.
Okay, so basically, we have to pick
2
among the 3.
Right.
And Wendy is a new she is new.
A new applicant, as is Mona Colwell.
And Wendy has, I believe, a background in economics.
She works for the Waterford Hotel Group, and she's on the east.
That's Mona. Mona works for the hotel group.
No.
Yes, it's in our application right here.
Wendy works too.
Wendy works for it too. They both work for it.
Oh, no.
Wait,
Is it the right one?
I'm sorry, I did. Sorry.
Yeah.
I got it mixed up because they're both handwritten.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
right, now Wendy is on the Eastern Tourism Board.
Yep.
And you can see Mona's credentials there as well. So, I guess we could...
You want to entertain a motion?
Yes.
So, I would like to make a motion stating that we reappoint Candace Fuchs to a 5-year term ending January 31st, 2027, to the Economic Development Commission, and appoint...
But do you think we should do these singly?
I just was going to pick 2.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
And appoint Wendy Russell to fill the open term expiring January 31st, 2024, due to her extensive background in tourism, chamber tourism, and the Mystic Coastal Council, which could be extremely beneficial as we move forward with economic development.
Okay. Now, I guess for clarity, we could, have more than one motion to consider and see how but maybe we need to, let's see if we...
We need a second, and then we can discuss it.
Right.
I'll second it.
Okay, Matt can second it. All right, so discussion. I think Wendy has good strengths. Personally, I think that Mona would be a good candidate for the other seat, simply because she has been very interested in school matters, and I think, having some new blood on there, would be a help. I think, candidly, Candace, I think she can be a bit abrasive from time to time, so I would perhaps choose a different person for that slot, the 27 slot.
So normally you talk to the chair of these committees to get their approval.
Well, get their input.
Okay, so I know that some of these applications just came in a day or two, a couple of days ago. So I'm wondering if anyone has had the opportunity to talk to...
I personally have not.
No. So I think that we need to table this then. Table it until you've spoken to the Economic Development
Okay.
Commission. There's a lot going on, and they should be able to pick the people that they want for their team.
Well, it's our decision in the end.
It's our decision, but they should make their recommendations as other chairs have.
Okay, so do you want to make a motion to table?
Do you want me to amend? I'll amend my motion to table the Economic Development Commission appointment until our next meeting.
Okay. So Martha makes the motion to table.
I'm amending my motion to table.
No. What's the rule on that?
I have to agree to amend my motion.
No, I think people can just vote to table it, not the person who made the motion.
Okay.
I'm not sure on her Robert rule refinement, but anyway, okay.
And then Matt would have to agree to second the amended motion.
Make a motion to table it?
Yes.
Second it.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to table it, which would cause it to go to the next meeting. All right, any other discussion on it?
Just as long as you check in with the chair for the committee. Thank you.
All in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next is
emergency management.
Yeah, I just got to get the right sheet. Next one is the Emergency Management Director. It's a 2-year term ending in 24. That's a sole position.
Make a motion to approve the Emergency Manager Director appointing Dave Roberge, 2-year term until January 31st, 2024.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion or any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next one, the Flood and Erosion Control, has a lot of vacancies. The only person whose term is up is Gary Smith. So we can vote him, and then we can work on why there's so many vacancies and see if we can fill them.
Well, after yesterday, I think there's a need for erosion control.
There are 6 vacancies.
6 vacancies, okay?
3 and 3, right?
So we can do Gary Smith for a 2-year term.
Yep, I'll make a motion to appoint Gary Smith to the Flood and Erosion Control Board for a 2-year term ending on January 31st, 2024.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. The next one is the Harbor Management. There was some term deficiencies there. There's supposed to be 3 classes of 3 people. So there is a correction to get the year with 4 terms ending to be 3, and you'll see a notation in there.
So how many people are on Harbor Management?
9.
Okay, and we're looking at 1, 2...
Okay, so we have...
4 R's and a U. And who else is still on it so that we are in compliance?
Sloan is a U.
He is registered.
Yeah,
yes.
He's not an R.
John McDonald.
And he is?
He's an R. We have William Harris as an R. George Finley, who is a D. Tom Meyer as an R. Terry Lewis as a U. Chris Staub as an R. Dannenauer as a U. And McGee as a U. and Falaguera as an R.
So that's 1, 2, 3. There's too many R's.
I think it's
For a
supposed
9-year term, a 9 board, you have to have 2/3 of the total.
1, 2, 3.
There's 6, and I think we're over.
You got 3. I think you have 4 R's.
You've got Chris Staub as an R. It has to not just be the appointees, but who's sitting on the
I think when you have 9, you can't have more than 5.
2/3. I pulled it up last night. More than 9, 2/3 of the vote can be in the majority. But you can't have
2/3 is
you
6.
can't have over 2/3. But if you have John McDonald, Willis, Meyer,
1, 2, 3,
and then you add
4,
Staub,
5. I've got 5 R's.
and
Plout is not a member. He's
yeah, but Flat, he's not on the list though. You have 1, 2, 3, Presti,
no, he's an alternate. That's a different count.
I think by state statute, it's anyone who's on
No,
board.
they're done separately.
Okay.
Yep. And so I'm not sure of the party affiliation of Kilo because I believe as a police officer, you don't have to show your party affiliation. Is that right?
Yes, I don't know.
I think that's correct.
Well, he's under the alternate slot, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he's not on this list. I mean,
Well, he's not up.
yeah,
Anyways, right?
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Right, but for counting, if you had Presti and Barnes, you could have, if Kilo was an R, you could not have that. But I think the regulars are in compliance.
So let's make a motion to table harbor management until next month so that we can get a complete list and make sure that we're in compliance.
Well, I think we can do the regulars because clearly we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I thought Michael had taken over for a position, hadn't he?
Barnes moved up?
No, Michael Presti. I thought after the election, I thought in December or November, he was
An alternate position.
Was an alternate?
Yeah.
So then that alternate position ended now, and now it's going to revamp
Correct.
to 26? Okay.
Yeah, it's a 4-year hitch.
Okay. So then, what are you suggesting?
I think we can do the
Sloan,
regulars. I don't know if we can find out the party affiliation of Kilo. Do you happen to know, are those confidential or? Maybe not. I don't know, but I do not have the party affiliation. You could wait on the alternates if you wanted to be sure. We could see if it's,
I can
with
text him right now if you
registrars.
want.
Huh?
I can text him right now if you want.
You can try it. We could wait on the alternates just to be.
But I thought you said the alternates don't count.
No, they have a separate count, the alternates. If you do 2 different calculations. So we could do the regulars and then we could just take no action on the alternates. So we clarify if we can get that registration figured out.
Is Kilo also an alternate? Is that what we're trying to find out?
Yes.
Because I don't have the whole list here in front of me. Okay. So I'll make a motion to appoint Chris Staub, Sloan Danforth, Michael McGee to a 4-year term on the Harbor Management Committee expiring January 31st, 2026.
You want to keep going with the rest of them?
Robert.
Oh, sure. Oh, his is different. And Robert Balaguerra to a 2-year term to Harbor Management expiring January 31st, 2024.
A second.
All right. Well. Okay, moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we'll, you want to wait on Presti until we clarify Kilo?
Yes, do you want a motion on that?
We just maybe don't act on it. We'll just pass on that one.
Okay.
Tables.
All right. The next group is the Historic District. There is a requirement that at least one member be a resident or a property owner within the district as a regular member and the same as a alternate member.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 2 vacancies that exist. One is Cynthia Taylor, and the other is John Forbes, who resigned. And the recommendation is to take Carolyn Wakeman to become a regular member and to have Russell Todd to be a regular member. That would leave Deb Zarnicki as the sole alternate who does not live in the district. So there is the suggestion to have Tammy Hinckley, who lives in the district, to become an alternate to fill a 2-year term ending in 24.
Which was vacated by those people moving.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to appoint Carolyn Wakeman and Carolyn Wakeman to a 5-year term to the Historic District Commission ending January 31st, 2027, as well as C. Russell Todd to
a 5-year term ending in 24.
Well, it's filling a term, it says.
But see, he's filling an unexpired term.
So he's filling a term expiring January 31st, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And, can I do the alternates at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay. As well as Tammy Hinckley to fix the term status to a 2-year term on the Historic Commission as an alternate expiring January 31st, 2024, and Deb Zarnicki to a 3-year term as an alternate on the Historic District Commission expiring January 31st, 2025.
Go ahead, and you want to second it? Just for clarity, Hinckley, that's kind of a Scrivener's error. The alternates have 3-year terms, so I would say it's a 3-year term ending in 24, since she's filling it during the course of the term, so people don't think it's a 2-year term. It's 2 years remaining.
Okay, well.
All right?
Okay.
I'll just say it's a 3-year term ending in 24, sort of like we did above.
It was just that I used the wording that was on the side there.
Yeah, I know. Yep. Okay, any other discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So there's only one opening left for the alternate. Correct.
What?
There's one opening left for Historic Commission alternates.
That's a vacant. Yeah.
A D or a U because there's 2 R's.
That'll appear, Todd's alternate will be a vacant, that'll be on the sheet of vacant terms.
Okay.
Okay, Inlet Wetlands, we have 2 regular members with terms ending, 3-year terms ending in 22, Evan Griswold and Michael Miller. We also have 2 vacancies, which we will evaluate later because we had some paperwork recently, but I think we need more time to review that. So I think that the 2 people, the existing incumbents, can be renewed, Evan Griswold and Michael Miller.
Make a motion to appoint to the Inlet Wetlands Commission Evan Griswold to a 3-year term expiring January 31st, 2025, and a Michael Miller 3-year term would expire in January 31st, 2025.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving along. Some of these don't have people with terms ending that we deal with here. The Senior Center has positions that are in July, so we don't need to concern ourselves with that. All right, we have the municipal agent for the elderly, Cynthia Taylor, term ending in 22. It's a 2-year term, so she would go to 24.
I'll make a motion to appoint Cynthia Taylor to a 2-year term on Municipal Agency Elderly Commission, expiring January 31st, 2024.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Open Space has 2 vacancies. Stephen Calcagney has resigned, as has Peter Cable. So the suggestion is to have 2 alternates move up. Ann Wells would fill a 3-year term ending in 24. And Claudio Denoya would fill a 3-year term ending in 25. In addition, we have an application from Fredericks. Yeah.
Oh, Chrissy, too.
Yeah, what am I Chrissy Fredericks,
and
to fill one of the alternate slots, which has a 3-year term ending in 24. That would leave 1 alternate slot open, with nobody applying at this time.
I have Bruce Barrett's on here.
Okay, well, he is an right. He would also, he would be the sole remaining alternate, and so we would entertain going 3 years for him.
Okay, this is going to get a little... All right, so I'm going to take this and
then to complicate things, we have 2 incumbents that would be going on 3-year regular terms extending to 25. Blair and Fenton. Yep.
Okay. All right, bear with me.
What is Ann? So if there's 7 people on the commission.
Open Space has 7 regular members and 3 alternates.
Right.
So 2 of the regular members are continuing. 2 new regular members are moving up from alternate.
So with a 7-member, you can have 5.
You have 6 Ds then.
one of the Ds is an alternate, and he said those are separate.
Correct. So we have Fenton, 1, Blair, 2, Wells, 3, Fatoma, 4, and Evan, 5. 5 out of 7.
That's within...
That might be too many, huh?
Well, no, because you can have up to 7 with a 9-person...
So it's 7 people.
Oh, 7 people, you can have up to 5.
Okay, we can verify that, but...
It's right. You want it, the printout from the state?
Okay, does it say specifically board?
Yeah, just section right there.
All right. Let's see. This is, oh, here we go. So it's a 7, so max 5.
Right.
Oh, it's the same for 8, okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
All right, so...
Pardon?
I was just checking.
No, that's good. I'm glad we're all checking each other.
All right,
There's a lot of people on here.
Yeah.
Open space.
Okay.
All right, want me to make a motion?
Please.
You going to go for it?
Sure.
Okay.
Last one. I'll make a motion to appoint to the Open Space Commission, 1, Andrea Fenton for a 3-year term, January 31st, 2025, and Amanda Blair, 3-year term ending January 31st, 2025, Ann Wells for terms currently open for ending January 31st, 2024, Claudio
Denoya,
a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2025, and also alternate Chrissy Fredericks, filling a current vacant term that expires January 31st, 2024, and alternate Bruce Baratz, a 3-year term expiring January 31st, 2025.
You can tell he was a policeman.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Hi.
Park and Rec, we have 2 members who wish to continue, Tim Gavin and Missy Coburn, 3-year terms ending in 25.
I'll make a motion to appoint Tim Gavin to a 3-year term to the Parks and Rec Commission expiring January 31st, 2025, and Missy Colburn Garvin to the Parks and Rec Commission for a 3-year term, also expiring January 31st, 2025.
A second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Thank you. We have Skip Sibley. Now, usually a committee does not have terms. This one does for some reason.
Is it because it's the pension committee?
I don't think so. I mean, it's not through ordinance or anything. We can either leave it to be, or we can have it be like the other committees. The pension committee has some required positions based on the school or the town hall person, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have essentially 3 people who the board puts on. So either we can leave it or we can get rid of the terms. Seems to me to be consistent. If we eliminated terms, it'd probably be a little simpler.
So so you're telling me that if you appoint him to the pension committee, he doesn't have a term? He just stays on?
Yeah, it's like the Soundview Commission, Halls Road Committee. There are no specific terms.
Just reviewed every year, pretty much?
I mean, it's a longer-term proposition, of course, because pension's going to be here longer than a project would be.
So basically, we just need to appoint him to the committee.
I guess we could just say we don't need terms in the 3, just skip. We'll officially make sure he stays on, but then these people would be on until they either resign or we ask them, replace one. It's more flexible.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Skip Sibley to the pension committee and to eliminate terms from the committee.
Yeah, we'll just scratch the 3-year and, yeah. Okay.
Second, sorry.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
The Solid Waste and Recycling Committee was dormant. So, again, this is a, no, excuse me, I'm jumping the gun here. Planning alternate. We have Matt Ward for a 1-year term to 23. The Planning Commission has 3 alternates that we can act upon. There are 2 other positions. We have some recent paperwork on it, but I think we could take this up at our next meeting and handle Matt at this point.
Well, there's 3 alternates, right?
Correct.
And we have Matt, who's renewing, and we have 2 applications for the other 2 alternates.
Well, we have more than 2, actually. We have Chris Kerr, we have Martinez, and we have Tenorello, that I know of anyway. So
I thought, I didn't.
So
I didn't see Tammy's application.
Well, that's because it hasn't been, these are sort of the ones that we're acting upon that are on the sheet. But I think we need a little more time.
Is she moving from zoning to planning? Or is she going to be on?
That's what she seeks to do, right.
Okay.
Right.
So that's going to open up a zone.
Right.
So, okay, so do you want to just
I think if we do Matt at this point, then we'll handle the other 2 positions.
So I'll make the motion to appoint Matt Ward to a 1-year term on the Planning Commission as an alternate expiring January 31st, 2023.
I'll second it. Because I don't think he can vote on it. Any other discussion on that?
I think he'll be great on that committee.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It'll reflect that Mr. Ward didn't vote on it. Next, we have the Rogers Lake Authority. We have 3 O-Line representatives and 3 Line representatives. One of the O-Line representative, Richard Smith, his term is up in 22. He has been the co-chairman. And so that's the one position we need to deal with.
So I'll move to appoint Richard Smith from O-Line to the Rogers Lake Authority for a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2025.
Second.
All right. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Now, the Solid Waste and Recycling Committee, we have some recent applications.
So this is a committee, so is it the same type of thing?
Yeah, we don't need terms.
All right. So basically, you need us to, I'll make a motion.
I can just, let me just describe. Suzanne Thompson and Leslie O'Connor are talking about this, and I think they've been able to encourage Jim Ward, who does the garden up at Townwoods Park, Karen Taylor, and Mary Ellen Basham, whose forms, I believe, are in the packet. There was one additional form that came in late, that's too late to consider, I think, at this point. So,
Do you know who that person was?
I don't know if
I mean, if it's a committee, does it have to have additional members?
it won't be constrained, but, there's a cutoff at some point. So we can put that person on. I have Basham, I have Ward, and so I don't have the name of the latest person. So
we can add it later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we could do the 5.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to appoint Suzanne Thompson, Leslie O'Connor, Jim Ward, Karen Taylor, and Mary Ellen Basham to the Solid Waste and Recycling Committee.
Second.
Okay.
Bless you.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, sorry.
Okay. The next is the Soundview Commission. We have 2 regular members, Harry Plout and Joanne Reese-Leashing, and 3 alternates, Danenauer, Maiano, and Paul Orzel, who should be on the sheet here.
Just for Sloan there, he's a U.
Yes.
Just to be clear. All right. Make a motion to appoint to the Soundview Commission Harry Platt, 3-year term ending January 31st, 2025, and Joanne Riesling, a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2025. And alternates, Paul Orzel, a 1-year term, January 31st, 2023. Sloan Denenhauer, a 1-year term ending January 31st, 2023. And Jackie Miano, a 1-year term expiring January 31st, 2023.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is the Town Council. A question came up as to the amount of billing that the law firm does and whether this should go through some sort of a bid policy. I have not talked with the finance board or the finance director on this. I know in the past we have, with the auditor, we have gone out to bid, and I think there's a threshold of $20,000 above which there is a process, and I think the next threshold after that is $75,000. I don't think the firm would go up to 75. The firm does quite a lot of legal work with just general legal for the town. It does tax. It does the sewer project. It's involved in open space, a host of things. And typically what happens is, depending on the nature of the case, Jack Collins, who's our primary contact, will recommend that it goes to one attorney or another. Concerning labor, we do not use the firm for that, and probably there are other departments that may use an attorney. I think some of the land use people have special attorneys, so it's not like it's only 1 or 2 firms. So what we might do is to just talk with the Board of Finance and get a little reading on this bidding situation, because I think it's probably over $20,000 annually. And let's see, I think I have for one of the other items.
And how long have they been our counsel for town?
I'm not sure, because I think it's within the last 10 years, because I think when Bonnie came in, there was a change, and I'm not sure which year that occurred. So we'll be talking about bid policy on another matter, but it's called regular purchases of those goods and services over the life at least 20 but less than 75. And regular purchases require competitive solicitation of bids or RFPs, but may be done by a formal bid process. Competitive solicitation includes soliciting bids or quotes from at least 2, preferably 3 vendors, unless a sole source vendor has been approved by the Board of Selectmen. It doesn't stipulate how frequently that is done. I think the CPA has been in place for several years, but it might at least, I could probably find out when they started. I don't have personally any complaints about the firm, but I just think before we go for 2 more years, we might just make sure that we're on okay ground or not.
So is it considered a contracted service?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. When we renew them, they would be filling the town council role for 2 years, which they have been doing. So, let's see.
Tim?
Yeah.
I think if you open up the bid policy and there's listings like 1 through 12 of items that don't have to go to bid, I think town council is on there as something that doesn't have to go up to bid.
Town council?
I think legal, yeah, something like that. See the list of...
Yeah, I don't see, I have a 3-page policy and I don't know, is there a separate attachment?
Behind that.
But this is about another matter.
Okay.
I think it may be a different page.
Really?
Yeah, I think maybe there's that done that we didn't get.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I think it's one of those things like the state contractor, who has the state price, we don't have to go out to bid.
Yeah, because I think...
Sometimes where we haven't gone out to bid on the auditor.
Yeah. I don't know that we get a schedule of lawyers' fees on an annual basis or anything like that. I think different lawyers maybe charge different things, but I think it's reasonable compared to the market, and that's comforting.
Due diligence like anything else, I guess.
I sort of feel comfortable just, I don't think it has to be done this time, but just to be sure. And we can look at that.
And also, if you remember, for the bid policy, every year I go through all the vendors and see what we paid them in total. I usually give that to the Board of Selectmen in March or April.
Yeah.
And then you can waive certain,
Yeah, because I'm going to talk about the landscaping company as part of this, the Jones. That's coming up. But would you be all right if we push this till 3 weeks or whatever it is to our next meeting?
Sure. No problem.
I mean, it's not like they have to stop working or anything.
No. Let's do it.
Just to get a reading, I'd feel more comfortable.
Sure.
Okay. All right, Tree Commission. We have 1, 2, 3 regular members and 2 alternate members, one of which...
I see 1 alternate on.
Yeah, the other one is vacant. So it'll be 3 regular members and 1 alternate. The regular member terms are 3 years, the alternate is 1 year. And so I will, in as much as my daughter is on there, I will not vote. Not that I normally vote on these anyway, but...
Okay, so I'll make a motion to appoint Ann Bing, Emily Griswold, Joan Flynn to 3-year terms on the Tree Commission ending January 31st, 2025, and Fred Behringer to a 1-year term as an alternate on the Tree Commission expiring January 31st, 2023.
Second.
Very good. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. Then, even though the Degnan is an ex officio of the Tree Commission, he is the tree warden, and he needs to be appointed for another 2-year term ending in 24.
And he receives stipends, correct?
Yeah, I think it's $3,000 a year.
Tree warden?
I think that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to appoint Tom Degnan as the tree warden for 2-year term ending in January 31st, 2024.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Now we have the volunteer pension. This is the emergency services pension as differentiated from the town employees and school pension. There are a total of, let's see, it looks like 4 members, 2 of which have terms ending in 22. It's a 3-year, although I think if we want to follow suit, we could dispense with the terms. And
this is the committee.
Since it's a committee. And just confirm Arthur Beebe and Jane Beisco to continue on the volunteer pension.
So I'll move to appoint Jane Beisco and Arthur Skip Beebe to the Volunteers Pension Committee. There is no term limit for this position.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have next WPCA. There is another situation where the terms were not in accordance with the ordinance. They should be 3-3-year terms. One of them has 4 people in a class, so we have Tsunami and Chan for the 26th term, along with Joe Carpentino. Dimitri, to get into the proper class, he is at 22, but we're going to make him a 24, so the term groups are correct. And Andrea Lombard, let me see here.
I'm taking the term on there as well.
Let me see. Lombard, 24. I guess Tolsky, he's at 22 on the sheet, so he goes to 24. Okay, so we should have for 26, let me bear with me here for a second. Tsunami and Carpentino, 24. Tolchinsky. No, one of the positions is actually vacant. Prendergast. It's 25. Okay, so I think this is right. If we had Tsunami and Chan and Carpentino to 26, the 24 would include Tolchinsky and Lombard and a vacancy which is not appearing here. And for, and then the other three are not due yet. They're in 2025. So the regulars are good. The alternate positions are all three empty. So we'll be trying to fill those.
And there's one regular position vacant, correct?
Say again?
3 alternates and 1 regular position empty?
Right.
Okay. I'll make a motion to appoint to the Water Pollution Control Authority for a 4-year term Steve Samini, Frank Chan, and Joseph Carpentino. The term expiring January 31st, 2026. And then Andrea Lombard and Dmitry Tolchinsky to fix their term ending January 31st, 2024.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Now, under zoning alternate, we have 3 alternate positions. We're aware that we have I spoke to the chairman, and he is he originally talked about Danenauer and Lamppost at Barnes to continue. We have another application from Sherry Johnston for the alternate position, and he liked her as well. So, you know, he didn't say I have a preference for one or the other necessarily. So, again, this would be a situation like we had at the beginning, where we had 4 people for the 3 spots. I don't know how we want to try to handle this. As we know, Lamppost was, I believe, on planning and seeks to go to zoning. Danenauer would come new. Barnes has been there, and then Johnston actually in the election for ZBA alternate, and since she couldn't serve with party representation, she's seeking to get on zoning instead of ZBA. So we could think about this and not act on it, or we could try to vote on people and see where we come out.
I personally would like to table this until next meeting.
Okay, well, we don't have to take action on it. We can just let it ride to the next one, and there might be some other activity as well. Who knows?
Okay.
And that's it, right?
I believe that concludes the reading.
All right. Yep.
Phew.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Old business, Halls Road. I don't believe this board has actually made a recommendation on the appropriation of $45,000. I know Dave Kelsey and myself and Edie, we met, we went through the numbers, and I think there was, I'm going from memory here, but $13,000 was to apply for the lot zip grant, which would do the public improvements, ideally from the Lime Art Association, ultimately to the Essex Savings Bank, the full length of Halls Road. That would be sidewalk, the Bow Bridge, the lighting, perhaps, other amenities yet to be determined along that street. Could be trees, could be who knows what. The lot zip grant, which is, I think, local capital and transportation improvement plan, the acronym, they're administered, I think they come through the Council of Governments, and towns more or less wait their turn, so to speak. I don't think we've been in a cycle for a long time, so I think we would probably have a fairly good reception when we get when we get that far. And these can be a much larger grant than the one in Sound View. So the $13,000 would ideally have the application prepared, submitted, so that we could determine if we're eligible for the grant. I think there's another $700 or $7,500. Oh yeah, you want to talk about? You're better than I am.
Okay. Actually, I have some stuff here for you.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yep. Okay.
So basically, there's three pieces of funding for that would through the BSC. The first one, as you were explaining, is for the BSC to put together the engineered drawings and assist us with application for the lock zip grant. And that's something that once the grant is applied for, this is the most formal review that the DOT will have of our full project. So that's very key. The other, there's a $7,000 cost for getting an easement set up with James Graybill for the property that is on the east side of the Lieutenant River. He has offered to do this. We just need to get the easement made, and it would be great to get that done sooner than later.
And some surveying and legal.
And then the last one with BSC is they have been working with us steadily without any commitment. This is a $9,000 fee to do more zoning assistance for writing the new language for the overlay zone. And then finally, a fee for a lawyer to work on that overlay zone with us, not to exceed $10,000. We're actually looking for a $5,000 retainer as soon as possible, so we can get this proposal from Bill Sweeney approved and ready to go, so we can start talking with him. That's one of our most urgent needs at the moment. Then there's also money that we need to make sure something is accounted for the next year, for 22-23. Given that most of that money is based on getting grants, we don't really know when we're going to need that money. That would be the money that would be paying for design fees for any trails or work done through the LOCSIP grant. But I think that does need to get into the 22-23 budget.
I think, Edie, we also, just because these things, it's hard to predict everything, we were going to throw in, on top of the 39.5, which the dark numbers refer to, 5,500 for contingency, to make it 45.
Yes.
If we don't need it, we won't use it, of course, but it just seems that...
And, I feel as though we don't have the manpower for these grant writing situations. We did just pass in a new application for this community challenge grant, which is a very involved application that I know Matt Merritt did his best to fill it out, but there was a lot of details missing. And that can be a sizable grant, but we just don't have the ability to get these things written up and applied for. So we might be looking for some help with that.
Mm-hmm. And I guess up in the top lots, that once the grant is prepared, then the next stage would be additional funds.
Right.
A couple of hundred, I guess, to get the whole thing, detailed drawings and stuff.
Right.
And
the same thing, once we get the trail part set up, we get funding for that.
How was the 204 related to the 200 and the 13.5? Add 20%.
That's just a 20% contingency. It should really be
4,000?
Yes.
Okay, just
drop it. Same thing down below where the 20% contingency.
Oh, drop to 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be 3,000. And again, that's something we don't know about until we get grants, and we may not get grants for 2 years, but at the same time, if we were to get grants and we wanted to work on these sidewalks, we'd need some kind of money in place for that. And I don't know whether it's something we could carry over once we approved it, or I think something needs to go in the budget.
So basically, you're asking us for two things: the 45K for this, to move on with the lot SIP applications, etc., and the work for Graybill to get that taken care of, calling legal and zoning. And then you're also requesting that we put money into the budget for next year.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, we are going to have two motions on this. Would that be correct, Tim?
Well, let's be clear. Is the second motion the 204, or
I think
just...
the second motion is the 357 for future design fees.
Are they exclusive of the 13.5 and the 7,000?
Yes. So the 45 would be a separate fee, whereas...
Okay. Ooh, that's a big number.
It is a big number, and if you want to cut it in half, that's fine with me. I think we need something out there to get us
I guess
through.
that would be the Board of Finance would, as they go through the budget, that'll be a 23.
Right.
We just have to move it to them, right? We just have to move it forward.
Recommend it. Do you have the timing on whether that would all happen within July 1 of next year through the following June? I mean,
So 23, 24?
Yeah.
I've never in my life dealt with grants, so I really don't know. The locksip may not come in till 25. And as far as this other one, we may have missed the boat on the community challenge grant just because we didn't fill it in correctly or something.
Okay, but can we just take the 45? The 45 has to go to town meeting, right? Would have to go to town meeting.
Yeah.
Yes, but that will require a special town meeting.
Right.
Because the timing is we had to get the current one in today.
Right, and then Board of Finance would have to review this.
Could be tonight.
Could be tonight. And
tonight.
And then we'll have another special meeting to be determined.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion that we approve 45.
We recommend a board.
I'll recommend a $45,000, how do you want to say it?
I think it would probably be an appropriation.
Appropriation for the Halls Road Master Plan to move forward and recommend it to the Board of Finance.
I guess we could break it down the same way to say for the lot zip grant prep.
So I can add
that we can buff that up.
This includes the lot zip grant preparation of $13,500, the secure easements from James Graybill for pedestrian bridge and trails to the Florence Griswold Museum of $7,000, legal zoning consultant for $10,000, additional zoning assistance of $9,000, and $5,500 for contingency.
Yes.
Yeah. And that, I would say the $10,000 and $9,000 would be for the Village District Overlay Zone.
That's correct, yeah.
Specifically.
Okay. So,
well,
I'll amend
Suzanne will help you with this.
Do you want me to start this again? I'll amend that second part, the $10,000 and $9,000, to add the wording, what did he just say?
For the overlay district.
Overlay district.
I would say Village District Overlay Zone.
Village District Overlay Zone.
Work. And then a contingency, a separate $5,500.
I said that.
Okay.
Matt second.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any additional discussion on this recommendation? All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you.
Now,
these are the actual proposals for all of these things that we're talking about today.
Oh, okay.
So now we need to act on the second thing to move for the budget for Board of Finance.
Well, let's talk to them tonight, see what they say. This is probably, did BSC provide these numbers for you?
Yes, yeah.
And does it include not only the work that is grant eligible, but other non-eligible and all that? Because we got tangled up with that in Soundview. There was a bunch of stuff that...
Yeah, I don't think they've gotten to that detail. This was really just an estimate for us to budget by.
Because I think this is kind of in the future. I don't think it is immediate as this 45. And so why don't we talk to the Board of Finance and we can see what they have to say about it. And if we need to, we're starting the budget, we're doing a budget overview, tonight. So it's quite preliminary, and I don't know if this has the same urgency to get something to them recommending it. And then we can test the pulse and see.
So we can test the pulse, but if what's our time limit on getting it into the budget? As
Oh, I mean, the budget is wrapped up in April.
Okay, so you have time.
Yeah. I mean, this would be a capital thing probably to, you know, and if it's done incrementally.
It's going to be a couple of years.
If the timeline is like 3 fiscal years, you know, you could do it in bite-sized pieces perhaps, because we're facing that with the Grassy Hill Bridge and you know, okay, I think we're probably in pretty good shape with this.
Do we have to vote? Did we vote?
I think we voted on the 45.
Okay, great.
Could I ask just one quick question? In terms of this securing the money for the retainer for the lawyer, is that something that we can do before we have to go through town meetings and everything, or is it a $5,000 retainer? We can't do anything on our legal consulting for the overlay district.
Have you blown through everything?
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah.
I would feel awkward about saying commit 5 when we don't have a source.
So there's nowhere else to.
Well, if they buy in tonight, then we could talk about the timing. Can you come tonight at 7?
Yeah.
No good for you.
I'm gonna run home and get some food though.
You can bring stuff back from Matt.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I think that we can kick that around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, Soundview. I've been out of pocket for a couple of weeks, so I don't really. I don't know what happened.
I believe they're actually having a meeting.
I think they went
this
last
afternoon.
week.
No, they had one today. I'm pretty sure. Or I doubt they did today.
Okay. Well, I think some of the stuff is going to be done, you know, probably not in the dead of winter when it's minus 5 degrees. So I think we had pretty good assurances from the contractor that bituminous and concrete and stuff, they can do it when it gets to be proper temperature, and so.
I do have wording from them though for the call to meeting, and I know you have it on there for the annual town meeting, but there might be a change or two from what their wording suggestion was. We can talk about that when we do call to meeting.
All right, sewers, Rich Prendergast, myself, town attorney, and Boulanger Scott Boulanger went to visit with personnel in Town Hall, and we were successful in having the outcome be that the intermunicipal agreement, Oline will simply join, as was originally anticipated, the 3 private beaches to be part of one intermunicipal agreement. There was a proposal that floated just before the election that it should be 2, that we would have one for the town and others for the beaches. And so, long story short, we're back where we should be. And I'm hopeful that with the proper wording and stuff, we should be able to sign something fairly shortly vis-a-vis the municipal agreement. That would enable us to, we've done it for the Hartford wastewater treatment. Once we finish East Lyme, then that opens the gate for us to join the cost-sharing agreement with the beaches. So that's a very positive step.
Do we have any idea how that's going as far as getting the legal paperwork?
I can't imagine it's going to take more than a couple of weeks. Hopefully. I have to talk to Attorney Carey. But the East Lyme attorney and our attorney were talking, and so I'll have to follow up and see where that stands. But this is 2 weeks ago, they were given the okay to go this route.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see, we'll go through here, warp speed. Ferry Road, I'm waiting to hear back from the tree warden about a conversation he was hoping to have with one of the landowners about some trees. I've heard. Once, hopefully we get a consensus on that, then we can do posting of trees that are slated for removal, which are still not many, but any tree is significant.
So, Tim, I have a question on that. I thought at the December meeting for the sidewalk, the Ferry Road sidewalk, I thought that it was decided that he was posting. What delayed it?
We all wanted to make sure that one particular landowner who has two trees in particular had a direct discussion with the tree warden.
Okay.
Because, it would be a big deal.
Yeah, okay.
So that was supposed to happen on the 8th, and I'm not sure whether or not I didn't hear that it has happened.
Thank you.
Swanbrook, we talked to the engineer about doing a design to fix what's there in a modest way, because we think there's no sense, we can't procrastinate on that, having it safe and for the summer. So if possible, we could get that done hopefully before Memorial Day, if not as soon thereafter as possible. But then if we decide to go to some other design other than what's there, then we would at least have this thing working properly, and that would be a big relief, because right now it's not.
So he is going to design and then apply for a permit, correct?
It's a certificate of permission, so it's the easy one, 90 days, supposedly.
Okay.
The American Recovery Plan.
That's me.
Can you go 78 RPM?
I'm going to go as fast as I can. This is an initial summary of the first, and I'll hit the high points for you. Tom has left, but he was here as chair. Basically, this is just an initial summary to give you a heads up, because the committee wants to continue being extremely transparent and where we are. So a survey went out to the homeowners, residents of Old Lyme and business owners, and it was open from December 9th through January 7th. The survey resulted in 896 completed electronic responses and 4 handwritten ones. This total includes 704 residents who consider Old Lyme their primary residence, including 67 who also run a business or organization in town, and 168 property owners that include seasonal residents, 28 additional business owners who do not also live in Old Lyme, and this total number indicates roughly 10% of the Old Lyme population. So the committee is extremely happy with the amount of people that responded to this survey, and thank you for all of those who did. And then, as you read down, and I'm going at the speed of light, we also took the 11 areas and took those that were either most important or important to people and ranked them from 1 to 11 going down. I can read them, but I think it would probably, to save time, we'll issue, and I can provide to Kate and to Elizabeth. I can send you copies tonight of this. But it's just a 2-page summary. It's basically the first 2 to 3 questions that were on the survey. A more in-depth analysis is going to be happening, and our hope is that we've basically broken the committee to look at the comment sections, and we've got 5 subgroups that are just going to look at the comments, and we'll be reporting tomorrow at our meeting tomorrow.
Good.
Is that fast enough, please?
Good. Okay. New business, annual town meeting agenda.
Did you want, I know we're in a time constraint, but the park and rec thing, were we talking about that tonight?
We already talked about that. A recommendation. Do we want to recommend that proposal as presented by Bob Dunn to go to the Board of Finance for funding this fiscal year, although it doesn't require anything. It can be funded within the budget, so there's no new money needed. But just, it could have our imprimatur on it.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve the hiring of a Park and Rec assistant for John
20 hours.
for 20 hours a week, beginning March 1st.
Yep.
Of 2022.
At the wage to be
At the
determined.
wage to approximately $30.45 per hour.
Okay.
Second.
Moved, seconded, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Town meeting agenda, it would be the annual report, it would be the sale of 11 Alpha Avenue, it would be the appropriation for the Soundview sidewalk and transportation of $50,000, the Citizen of the Year, and a newer entry was from the committee that we could utilize of the American Recovery Rescue Plan money, up to 115 for COVID testing, meaning kits and perhaps a vehicle that would come with a PCR testing, that sort of thing, distribution and communications costs. We're mindful that if the federal government makes it such that citizens could contact the federal government and have a bunch of these things sent to them on a periodic basis, we may not need to spend much money on the test kits themselves, but I don't know that we're confident the test kits are going to be shaping up that quickly, so at least it provides a vehicle for...
Well, the website for the federal government opened today, covidtest.gov, and it takes about less than 2 minutes to apply, and I put my
Well, we'll see if you get it,
application
because if that happens, I think that whatever these things are being looked for could be done by that method.
Right.
Yeah.
So the only thing that on the warning of the town of Old Lyme business, there is, you had number 3 as worded, but there was, it needed to be read a little different because it's part of the community connectivity project. So do you want me to provide you with the wording?
This is final.
Oh, well, I thought we had to sign it. We haven't needed to sign it.
We will.
I know.
I've got it here, but I mean, we had to get it in today in order to meet the deadline, so.
So we can't change the wording on that for number 3.
If there's anything really, if the lawyer thinks it should be changed, I suppose you could make an amendment to it. I don't know, but let's work on that later because we got to get out of here.
Okay. I'll send it to you and Jack in an email.
May we have a motion to approve the agenda? We can look at number 3 perhaps, but we got to get Selectmen approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for the town business meeting with the possibility of changing number 3 once the town attorney looks at alternate wording.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Yes, aye.
And apropos of bid, the Jones Landscaping Company that takes care of the fields at Townwoods Park, they have submitted a bid for a 3-year agreement with no cost increase. And in talking with Nicole, the finance director, she suggests that this could be eligible for a waiver of the bid requirement. The total price for the work would be $101,510, be paid in 8 equal installments of $12,688 beginning in April. I think this is an annual figure. Don Bugby recommends this. He says that they do very good work. They've no cost increases in this day and age is very, very favorable. So if it pleases the board, we could approve the contract renewal as a sole purchase, sole contract, or what do they call it here?
I make a motion to approve the Jones...
Sole source vendor.
Sole source vendor, Jones Landscaping contract for Town Park beginning April 1st, 2022, for 3 years?
Yeah.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion?
Can you just give me that, what was the total price per year again? 101?
11510.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Okay, and we submitted the opioid settlement program. We have no idea what kind of funds will be coming ultimately. So that's done, and then the budget process has begun. So if we can call for adjournment, we'll...
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
7:01. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Thank you.
Shut that off.